The tight end position's like a box of chocolates from week to week in fantasy football. You never know what you're going to get. But we have a promising young tight end prospect who's jumping into a good situation due to injury that might see a bump up in targets here in the near future. We're talking about Dalton Kincaid, and we're going to go over the news, the facts, the data, the advanced metrics, and everything else to see whether or not you need them or not for fantasy football. But what you need to do right now is click that subscribe button, tap it with your finger on your phone, click it with your mouse, whatever you need to do. We're doing deep dives on these waiver wire prospects every single day. We talk about the waiver wire off and on all week long. We help you set those lineups. We help you get those trades done and everything else. Click that button. Stop missing out. Let's look at Dalton Kincaid, though. Here we go. Big news. Dawson Knox will have surgery on his wrist. He will be missing some time. He will be out some weeks. And up comes Dalton Kincaid. Big time tight end prospect. First round draft pick. Everybody's looking at him. And everybody's asking questions whether or not they should be picking him up in fantasy football. We're going to be going over that today. Looking at the numbers. Recent production. 15.5 fantasy points in week 7 against the Patriots. Saw 8 targets, 75 yards, and played on 61% of the snaps. Nothing in week 6. Week 5, 3 points. Week 4, 6 points. Week 3, 2. Week 2, 9. Week 1, 6. As has been sharing the field with Dawson Knox. And a lot of people had high hopes for him going into the season. He was a late round prospect in drafts that people were taking as a lottery, taking at the tight end position. I talked about him a lot. He looked promising in preseason and in training camp and in minicamp and in rookie minicamp. Heard a lot of news coming out, but now, once the bullets started get firing in live action, we weren't getting much. The thing is, rookie tight ends, they usually don't hit. Young tight ends take some years to develop, and that's one thing we're looking at here with Dalton Kincaid. The fact that he's even on the field, running routes, getting opportunity, is a good thing to see. And the thing about him now getting in a status where things might ramp up a little bit, we might get some fantasy production out of him. We already did here in week 7 with 8 targets and 8 catches. And then looking through the production throughout the season, not too great. We got a 9-point week and the 15-point week, and everything else forgettable. And that's it. And the targets 4, 6, 2, 5, 2, 8, kind of forgettable. We got a 6-target game, a 5-target game, and an 8-target game really to hang our hat on. But really nothing to brag home about outside of week 7. And then the air yards, when we're looking at those, he's not getting targeted deep. He's getting a lot of short targets, which means he needs touchdowns. He needs volume, and he gets yards after the catch. He needs to do all of those things to be productive in fantasy, which is hard to do when you're sharing the load with another tight end, and you have Stephon Diggs there, who's holding like a 30% target share. Looking at his collegiate production, he was very productive during his final year at Utah. 890 yards, 8 touchdowns. Second in all of college football in targets with 93. Right behind him was Sam Laporta. Right ahead of him was Michael Mayer. But when you looked at him from week to week, he was one of the top tight end prospects in all of college football when it came to running routes, when it came to getting open, when it came to sheer production. That was Dalton Kincaid. That's what got him drafted in the first round. You're looking at the yards after the catch last year, 397, 5.7 per reception, 2.41 yards per out ran. Decent numbers at the tight end spot. That caused the Bills to spend a first-round pick on him. Decent athletic specs. Not great, not grandiose, but good enough to get the job done. 94th percentile dominator rating. Decent breakout age. Everything's more than good enough to get the job done. And you also got the first-round draft capital. You also got the Buffalo Bills. You got Josh Allen, who's lately has been up and down. But still, you got a quarterback that likes to sling it deep, who has that mentality that wants to fit it in there. The gunslinger, and you got volume in the offense. A lot of people were talking him up going into the season. A lot of people were drafting him heavy in rookie drafts and dynasty, a first-round pick in some cases, going over guys like Devin Achane, Going over guys like that. A lot of people were drafting him heavy in rookie drafts. Thinking about this offense, though, Stephon Diggs, 34% target share. He's eating a lot of targets. He is the guy that stifles the pass catchers in his offense. You also got James Cook getting a 9% target share. Doesn't sound like much, but you're getting over 40% of the targets here by Stephon Diggs and James Cook. And that really leaves out not many targets left to go around for the wide receivers, Gabe Davis, and then 2 tight ends competing for targets here. And if you combine them, you're getting a little over 50 targets. Still not too much when you combine both tight ends. That being said, if the Knox targets funnel to Kincaid, at least most of them, you're going to get him pushing for like an 18 to 20% target share, getting some volume, maybe upping his ADOT a little bit. He's got a higher ADOT than Knox, getting more targets downfield. That's a good thing. They're moving him down there as a chess piece. Kincaid could be getting some opportunity to score big for you, at least getting more volume, making him more dependable. They're running 39 pass plays per game and also 26.3 seconds between plays, 13th fastest in the NFL. So they are moving the sticks. They are slinging it downfield, and there is going to be some opportunities. However, the tight end spot is a position you can't depend on. You can't depend on it in this offense when you got a wide receiver soaking up a 34% target share. A lot of people were looking at Dawson Knox as being the problem. The problem really is Stephon Diggs, and if Gabe Davis has an air yards day, he's going to soak up targets, and then you got the running backs funneling target share as well. There's a lot going on here than just Dawson Knox out, Kincaid bumped up. He's going to get a bump up, but that 34% target share, there's some days that's 40s, there's some days it's 50, because that's an average. Stephon Diggs owns a lot of the targets in this offense and really hampers the upside of everybody else in this offense in the pass catching department. And also when we look at tight ends, this is why the tight end position is like a box of chocolates here. The difference between like the tight end 10 from week to week and the tight end 25, there's barely any difference. And sometimes the tight end 8 and the tight end 25, the tight end 7, that has been the running joke on this channel. That's really why I don't talk about tight ends too much, because I don't want to go deep into a tight end knowing this thing here where tight ends aren't really that valuable unless you're one of the top tier guys. After you get one of the top tier guys or get past them, really should be just playing the matchups, taking shots, shooting for upside, because if you miss, you're only a few points away from being a tight end 1. A tight end 1 in a 10-team league for that part. A tight end 12 is a tight end 1 in 12-team leagues. You're only a few points away, and honestly, if you don't have the Travis Kelce's, you do not have the Mark Andrews, you might as well just shoot your shot, shooting for upside in the later rounds if you don't have any of those top-tier guys, those top 3 to 5 tight ends. Because you know what? It's going to be hard to get that consistent production here. And you see the variance here. 2 to 5 points per game, at most almost 8, and that's on this season. And this season's not an anomaly. Last season it was like this, year before it's like this, year before that it was like this. It's just a running gag that we talk about with the tight end position. So if you shoot your shot on Dalton Kincaid, you're shooting for upside here, and if he flops, you're really not going to be too far off from a tight end 1. That's the thing about that. When you shoot your shot on upside at the tight end position, you're not going to be too far off from the tight end 1. You're going to miss out on one of the top guys, but those guys are expensive. There's opportunity costs there. You got to pay up for that, and they're already gone. We're talking about waiver wire here. I look at Kincaid as an upside guy. He's a first-round pick. The team likes him. He's great in the passing game. Maybe not as great in the pass blocking department as of yet per NFL standards, but he could get the job done with more volume. He could definitely do that, and maybe get you around tight end 10 range. Maybe get you there off and on throughout the season. And if he flops, say you miss out on this, you make that pickup, you're not going to be off too much. If he busts, you're not off too much. Really, you can't really bust unless it gives you like tight end 0 results or something like that. So, looking at the Bills' schedule here, we got some opportunity because they are the Bills. They are in contests where on average, the point total is at 45.15 points per game. So they are in shootouts. They are in games where points are being scored, where there is opportunity. They were only in one low-scoring game on the season. We have some opportunity for some more here, but more than likely, they're going to be up and down. They're going to have a lot of ups. They're going to be in some shootouts. The fantasy playoffs here look tremendous. It looks tremendous if you have Kincaid and Dawson Knox is still out. There could be a lot of opportunity here. Could be a lot of opportunity here for him to get targets. He's a first-round tight end. So a first-round tight end with some upside, turning it on in the back half of the season makes a lot of sense. Tight ends take a lot of time to develop. Usually 2, 3, 4 years. Usually happens. The fact that he's already on the field, running routes, seeing some targets, fourth in line in target share, if I remember right from that last picture. Still, he's getting some opportunities, showing some flashes. Maybe with some extra opportunity, we get something. If you bust from what we just said, you're not going to be far off from a tight end 1, because that is just how the tight end game is played here in fantasy football. So might as well shoot for that upside. So you need him because you want to gamble at tight end. You need to shoot for upside. He's running routes. He's going to get more targets. He's going to get more upside, more work in. And you like that. He's on the Bills offense. There's going to be volume to go around. However, you don't need him. You don't need a tight end. You already got one. You got one of the top guys. You don't need 2 tight ends. Don't have 2 tight ends. You don't need a backup tight end. After your top tight end goes out, just play the matchups. Play the matchups, hope for the best. Because what's the worst thing that happens? You get 5 points from your tight end that you just picked up. You're 5 points away from being a tight end 1. What's the worst thing? You want to stash running backs, because that's what I do. I stash them running backs. But Dalton Kincaid does have some upside in his offense, especially with more workload. A guy you need to look at if you're hurting at tight end, or if you want to gamble at tight end, Dalton Kincaid could be your guy. Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear about it. Hit that subscribe button. Stop missing out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.